Hello and welcome to another episode of The Average EV. A lot of people have been asking me, when you plug in your Equinox EV, does it warm up the battery? Well, guess what? We're going to find out. All right, everyone, so here I am. Here's my Equinox EV. It's snowy. It's 24 degrees outside. And people keep asking me the question, if I plug in my Equinox EV and it charges, will it precondition, air quote, the battery? And I do know that it warms up the battery, but I want to see how much. So let's hop inside the car and talk about how I'm going to run this experiment here. All right, everyone hopped in the car. We're at 59%. It is pulling some power, so I want to get this test started soon. It says it's 23 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That's the state of charge right now. So we are going to go up to 80% and we're going to see what happens. I'm going to flip the camera around and give you some of my quick thoughts and what I think might happen. Okay, so I went ahead and I captured data from my car scanner app with my VPeak BLE Plus. People always ask me what I use, so it's the VPeak BLE Plus, and I used the car scanner app on the Apple App Store. So I got that. The battery's around 0 to -1 degrees Celsius, so basically 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so freezing. So it's above what the ambient temperature is, which is 23 degrees. So clearly the car does something to keep the battery warmer than the ambient temperature, so we observed that. And now we're going to plug it in and see what happens. So I'm only going to be charging up 21%. So I do believe if I were to have to add 50% to the battery, that the battery would get even warmer, just because whenever you are putting power in or taking power away, there's currents flowing, heat is going to exist, and that's going to warm up the battery. So it's definitely going to warm up the battery. What we're looking at is how much it warms the battery up by. So the first part of the test is going to be charging up to 80% and then checking the temperature. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave the car plugged in. I'm not going to unplug it, and I'm going to precondition it from my phone, and it will precondition for 60 minutes. So after 60 minutes, I'll come back out and then I'll check and see what the battery temperature is as well. Again, I want to emphasize, anytime that load is being pulled from the battery or put into the battery, it is going to cause heat. So it should warm up. Now, people have been asking me, does it precondition the battery? And precondition the battery to me is get the battery warm enough to perform its job optimally. So for this car, we're talking 15 to 25 degrees Celsius, which is in, like, I'm really bad at translating. I do Celsius because a lot of the industry does it, but it's in like the 70s, 60 to 70 degrees is the optimal temperature for a battery to work. Actually, probably a little warmer. Warmer is always better, honestly, if you want more power. But for me, who just drives around and just wants to have the most efficient drive, around there is going to be best. And we're going to see if it gets there. I don't think it will. Now, say you wanted to actually precondition your battery, you can hit the manual precondition, and maybe I'll do that after we do the 60-minute cabin precondition to see and we'll just see how much the manual will get us up as well. But if you want to precondition the battery, hit that. Or if you route to a destination, it will precondition the battery and warm it up as well. But please note that if you want to do that, it's going to take you, I would say, 20-30 minutes minimum to get the battery to a reasonable temperature where you're going to get your most decent, most ideal charging scenario. So enough talk. Let's go ahead and get this test started. I'm actually shoveling my driveway, and I thought this would be a fun video to shoot for you all, and I know people have been asking the question. So I'm going to go ahead, get plugged in, and then we'll see what happens. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and plug in. Hello, charge port. There we go. Ooh, it did not like the ice today. Go ahead, plug in using my EV Co. I really do like this, everybody. I did a video on it, but I love the handle. It's just really been a great unit for us. Plug in, we'll get that charge going. Listen for that beep. There it is, and we're charging. I'll catch up with you all when I'm at 80%, and we'll check that battery temperature. All right, so we are 80%, added 20% of the battery or so back. And it's still 23, 24 degrees outside. Right, so after adding 20% to the battery, charging, leaving it plugged in, we raised the temperature from -1, was the average temperature, to 5 degrees Celsius. So still not warm enough to consider it preconditioning, in my opinion, to get the results you would want from the battery, but it is warmer for sure. So now what I'm going to do, and the climate's really not running too much right now, I'm going to shut this off, and then from my phone, I'm going to precondition like I do pretty much every morning, and I'm going to do that for 60 minutes. 60 minutes? Yeah, I'll do 60 minutes. And then I will come out, because that's how long you can precondition. And we're gonna see if that raises the temperature as well. Since when I do that, I leave it plugged in and it pulls from the house, I'm gonna do that as well. And we're gonna see how well that heats up the battery. It'll be interesting because it's plugged in, so it's gonna be pulling power from there, and then it's gonna be heating the climate, and we're just gonna see what happens. And then again, to reiterate, after that, I thought we could leave the battery, the actual manual preconditioning on for 15 minutes and 30 minutes and see how that raises the battery temperature as well. So let's go ahead and get to this next step of the test. All right, everyone, so I went ahead and I preconditioned the cabin. So it's set to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. That's what I like to do. So we're gonna let it warm up, and then I have a 60-minute timer on. So once that goes off, I'm gonna come back, check the battery, and see where it's at temperature-wise. All right, everybody, back in the car after preconditioning. It's pretty warm. It's pretty warm in the car. It's 19 degrees outside, so it actually got a little bit colder. And the battery only went up by 1 degree Celsius, so no improvement here when it comes to having it, precondition the cabin. It warmed up a little bit, kept it warm maybe, but it did not actually precondition the battery. So now the last thing I'm gonna do is I am going to actually precondition the battery. We're gonna see what happens. All right, in case you've never seen my preconditioning video, you go into charging. Sorry, let me go back, hold up, let me redo all this. Charging, and then you'll see this normally. Then you'll click the gear, and then you'll go to fast charge prep, and I'm gonna click start. So now it's gonna heat up the battery. I'm gonna leave the car on. I'm gonna set a timer for 15 minutes and for 30, and then we're gonna come out here and check and see how the battery is doing. All right, so we're back in the car. 15 minutes later, I checked the OBD data, and we are now at 9 degrees Celsius, so it warmed up 3 degrees, which isn't a lot in 15 minutes, but it did warm up. I decided after it only going up 3 degrees, I'm gonna let it go 15 and then another 15. So we'll do 45 minutes total. Maybe if I get there, we'll do an hour. I don't know. But we'll just see, because I want people to have a realistic idea if they really have to like warm up the battery because they need to go charge. They can have a quick charge if maybe they live locally or something like that. How long feasibly in the winter they might want to turn this on and leave this on to warm up their battery. So I'm gonna go back in the house, watch some football. Packers come on later, not right now. Bears are winning, unfortunately. But, all right, so catch up with y'all in a bit. All right, so 15 minutes later, it's been 30 minutes doing the preconditioning for the battery here, just parked in my driveway, and it went up to 15 degrees Celsius, so it went up 6 more degrees, and now we're starting to get into a pretty good area. 15 is actually not that bad. You probably will have a decent charging session if you were to go there. But you know what, let's go 15 more. Let's just see if we can make it to the 25 degrees Celsius, which would be the most ideal temperature for the Equinox EV to charge. Obviously too, if you're using a local, like you're gonna wanna do this before you go there. But if you have to drive, 30 minutes, then you can do this while you're driving towards the charging site. So let's go ahead and do 15 more minutes. I do wanna note it's 19 degrees Fahrenheit. So, it's still pretty chilly. And again, I know I'm gonna confuse everybody. It's 15 degrees Celsius battery, 19 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sorry. One day I'll change. Maybe I'll translate everything in a caption down below. Maybe I won't. We'll see. But anyways, let's do 15 more minutes. I'll catch up with you all in a bit. All right, so it has been 45 minutes since I started preconditioning the battery, and we're now at 22 degrees Celsius, which is a great temperature to charge your battery. Now, I'm not saying, if you do the exact same thing, you'll get the exact same result, but it's safe to say if, you live in an apartment and you need to go charge up your battery and your battery's cold, if you wait about 30, 45 minutes. It'll be warm enough where you'll get an ideal session. If you're on the road and you're navigating, the car will automatically do that for you and warm the battery up so you're good to go. So yeah, pretty interesting. I'm actually not shocked by anything. I didn't think that being plugged in would precondition the battery enough to make it worth anyone's while. So, you know, we all learned here, if you do need to go charge, come out, go to charging, start preconditioning manually, leave your car on. I'll show that real quick. And then you will probably be good to go in 30 or 45 minutes. Just so everybody knows, if you look for this icon, you click on that and then it'll leave your car on for 60 minutes. All right, everybody, so that's all I have today. Hope it was useful. I've done some other winter videos, but people in my most recent video were asking this specific question, so I thought I would go ahead, do a little test, answer it for everybody so you know what's going on. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, please remember to give a like, and actually I'm gonna say this really quick, subscribe, because right now we are at 9,000 subscribers. I'm looking to hit that 10,000 subscriber mark. It'd be super cool to hit it in 2 weeks. I don't think that's gonna happen. But if we could hit it in a month or two, hit that 10,000 subscribers, that's a pretty big milestone, and something that it would be awesome if we could all do that together. So go ahead and hit that subscribe, the notification bell as well, and I will catch you all next time.